Hello, everyone. I am Krandall Brantley for Buckeyes Daily. We are here. It's Penn State week. It's close to game day, and not the top five matchup we wanted, but it's still Penn State week. And one of the intriguing matchups is Jim Knowles coming back to the shoe versus OC Brian Hartline. Now, we know Jim Knowles went to Ohio State for 3 years. He's been a part of this rivalry on the other side, so he understands how Brian Hartline usually manages games and how Ryan Day prepares for these matchups. And you have Brian Hartline and Day and company. They understand how Jim Knowles operates for these games too. Here's this: if Jim Knowles comes out and Penn State shuts down Ohio State's offense, I don't see that happening, but that happens. Penn State fans are going to say, look, that's why we hired him. We knew he was one of your guys and he'd be able to help us finally beat Ohio State. If Brian Hartline puts up 50 on these dudes and destroys them, Penn State will be offering him the head coaching job Monday. So we're going to see what happens. I have more to say on that later on, but I think Ohio State will eventually pull away in the second half, and partly because Jim Knowles is going to be forced to take a lot of chances, a lot of blitzes, and I think Jordan's saying, be calm, cool, and collected. This O-line has been very good in pass protection. They'll be ready for that. We know that our receivers, J.J., Cardinal Tate, Ennis, Max Clare, they'll be ready as well. We know that as the best receiving core in the country. And I'll say this. I know some rumors out there that Brian Hartline could be taking the job at Penn State. I'm sure Penn State's looking at him because a lot of these head coaches that were rumored to not stay are taking extensions, their teams, and that much. So Penn State might not be the main destination for the top 10, top 5 coaches that will be available. And so Brian Hartline could be someone that they target. But I don't see that happening. I think it's possible that Brian Hartline would take an interview with Penn State, but I don't see him taking that job. I can see Brian Hartline leaving the program in 2 to 3 years, taking a head coaching job. I think he still has more to prove as an OC based off of 2023 with the offense not as doing as well as previous offenses. And I also think when it comes down to Penn State, that's ingrained in him. He played in the rivalry. He was on the 05 team, 06, 07. They beat Penn State to go to the national championship, and he ended up losing some close games to them as well. So he's played in the rivalry. He knows what that's about. He's coached in the rivalry even more years than that. So I think he has a lot of respect for the OSU program, Day and company, to then be the next coordinator and be the head coach at Penn State. I don't see that happening. Somewhere else in the future, yes, but not Penn State. I don't see that to be a factor. So Hartline is going to get it done this weekend, and he's not going to Penn State. Hey, flip season continues, and OSU has a big recruiting weekend, and they got Kamon Spell, number 1 running back in the country for the 2027 class. He is taking a visit for this game. He was a Penn State hard commit. James Franklin had him, and Penn State fans were comparing him. They were saying he's going to be the best running back there since Saquon Barkley. OSU hasn't lost this game since Saquon was at Penn State. And James Franklin got fired, and then he announced the decommitment. Even when he was committed, he did visit Ohio State for the Texas game earlier this season. And so definitely it shows that Ohio State is right there with a chance to get Kamon Spell. Right now, experts say they're not the favorite yet Notre Dame is probably the favorite right now. I know he's a major fan of Jeremiah Love. He said Jeremiah Love is his favorite player to watch in the country. And here's this: he visited Notre Dame when they beat USC, and Jeremiah Love's dad even posted a clip of Come On Spell bringing a touchdown and doing the Jeremiah Love celebration, and said that he'd be watching Notre Dame games for the next 4 years to watch this kid play. And so that's major. Notre Dame's known for having a great running game, but this weekend is OSU's chance to make things change. Not a night game that we wanted. It's still big noon. I'm sure Spell understands that. At OSU, not the premier program in the country, they are like right there with Georgia. And you got Carlos Lachlan, the coach. He's done a fantastic job with the program. He had Junkins, Travion Henderson, got it done year one with the Natty. And then he has these young bucks this year. Bo Jackson, Isaiah West. He said in the offseason, you have to earn it every rep. There's no one that's guaranteed reps. And he's not lying. Like, they had to earn it. Bo Jackson came in. He's like, oh, he's probably the best back. And so they played him. And now he's starting. And I see Isaiah West breaking out. He's getting playing time. And if this continues, it could be Isaiah West and Bo Jackson getting most carries at the playoff time, which just shows that they are willing to play freshmen who can make plays and earn your way, which could be a good recruiting spell like for Come On Spell to be a Buckeye. But I think if OSU keeps winning and they're making runs and they can go back to back, they'd be in for recruits like this, like now and in the future. Another top recruit that's coming in, like 4-star cornerback. You got cornerback Jay Timmons. He is a Florida State commit right now, and you know what's going on at Florida State. Just like Penn State, they had high expectations in September, and then just went down the drain. Like from there, it could be another coach that gets fired. Norvell might be out, which could lead to even more guys in that portal with a lot of talent in that Florida area. And Tay Simmons could be there for Ohio State to get. So major recruiting weekend. There's even more recruits there. I just mentioned a couple of names to look out for. Okay, this is the last Penn State game until 2028, which is kind of weird to say. For me, I grew up in watching this in the early 2000s. The first time I can recall this rivalry, watching it, it was Tressel's first year. Joe Pa, he was the older legend, and that entire broadcast they kept talking about Paterno was on the verge of breaking this record. I'm like, what's this record they're talking about? And if they win this game, he was going to have the record, the all-time record of wins for the D1A like wins all time. And with that, OSU was up 18, and Penn State came back at home, Happy Valley, and they were to win. I think since then, I think it was ingrained in me at a young age to like not care for Nittany Lions, and kind of called it the border war, and in that sense. But with that, like not caring for them, every year I'd be hyped for this game, and you knew it was gonna be a big game. You knew that a lot was gonna be on the line for these, and so it's kind of unfortunate that it won't happen until 2028 again. I know Tressel and Paterno had some wars, '01 to '09. Urban Meyer won some classics, and in today's era, it's always kind of back and forth on social media with the two fan bases. And so I don't think that's gonna happen as much if we know we're not gonna play until at least for the next 2 seasons. And so that is very unfortunate. It should have been protected rivalry at then the Big Ten expanding, but unfortunately, it is not. Maybe get a new head coach and y'all make the playoff or make it to Indy, and we get this thing happening next year or the year after. But for now, it's only guaranteed to happen 2025. Okay. First playoff rankings come out number fourth. So it's always an exciting time for that. And I would say this: don't be surprised if OSU not number one. We've watched the games. We know who's number one. We know who the best defense is. We know OSU is emerging to be the best offense in the country. They are the reigning national champs, undefeated, longest winning streak. And the committee always has something to do like drastically different in the AP on these first rankings. They always do that. And so they've had years where they flip flop, whether the top four is going to be about strength of schedule or best teams eye test. I'll talk that later. But I think this season they're going to go with the SEC, Texas A&M, and say strength of wins. At Notre Dame, blowing out LSU. They've played well. They beat Arkansas on the road. I think this is the team, with them being number one, and create some more narratives. The LSU win is based off of preseason rankings. We have LSU so high, then you said that their win against Clemson was so good and kept them in the top 25. But nevertheless, A&M is playing very well. So I don't mind if they are number one in the national rankings. I just know if Ohio State is an undefeated Big Ten champ, they're going to get the one seed. They have a chance against Indiana to prove that at the end. And so a lot of football to be played for Ohio State. You got to win this game, beat team up north, win the Big Ten. Those things happen. You're undefeated, be a one seed. But don't be surprised if A&M is number one, number fourth. All right. Talk to y'all later. Go Bucks.